What is up, my Lorcana Goons? Welcome back to the Lorcana Goons channel. My name is Kevin. We're going to talk about some Lorcana stuff today. We have the results from the Pack Merlin Strikes Back online tournament hosted by Taya Beastie. Now, if you don't know who Taya Beastie is, they are a content creator for the Lorcana space, for card games in general. They're a Twitch streamer. They do a lot of stuff. They're pretty well known, and they have a channel for YouTube, Twitch, etc. They have been hosting some awesome pixel-born tournaments where basically you either enter for free, or in this case, this one was $15 entry, and the prize pool for top 8 was split of $1,500. So this was a pretty big tournament that had 162 players. First place got $600, second place got $300, third place got $200, top 4 got $100, I mean fourth place, and then top 8 received $75 each. And the rest of top 16, I believe, received a promo card in a sense, and I played one of the tournaments last time. I got 10th place, and I got the promo card in the mail just recently. So let's open this and see what it looks like. But shout out Taya Beastie for these awesome tournaments that have been happening in the Lorcana space. But this is what you get. Ooh, I got a cool one. I got a really cool one. I got Merlin Rabbit. Check that out, my goons. I love to see that. This is really cool. I'm gonna take this out of the plastic real quick. And a top loader and everything. Wow. Ooh, look at that sparkle. And okay, I might actually play this in my deck. Me as a degenerate Ruby Amethyst player will enjoy playing this. People are gonna ask me, ooh, where'd you get that? So this is what you get as a prize card, promo card that you get top 16 in their tournament. So everyone got a different card. I don't know if everyone got a different card or had anything to do with where you placed, but yeah, a bunch of different stuff given out at the tournament. Last one was free entry. This one, like I said, was $15. 160 players basically. Taya did mention that 2 people did drop early, and she had to refund them via her Twitch stream. So please go watch her Twitch video if you want to see the casting for the finals. It was a crazy tournament overall. I was working this weekend, so I had to kind of keep up on my phone whenever I could, but I got to see day 2, and lo and behold, Sapphire Steel took it home, getting first place, piloted by Skylar Dunce. This was a pretty awesome deck and a pretty awesome match to see, going against none other than a Ruby Amethyst, piloted by Lorcana Twin number 2. Now, Lorcana Twin number 1 actually was also in the top 32. I don't think he made top 16, but he got first place at the first free tournament that was hosted by Taya Beastie. So pretty cool that both those twin brothers are just awesome Lorcana players. Obviously, they're good that both of them are going getting really close to winning this tournament. But let's get on into this first place deck list piloted by Skylar Dunce. This is a Sapphire Steel deck if I've ever seen one, playing 4 of the following: Whole New World, Sad Boy, Beast, Bell, Cogsworth, Cruella DeVille, Develop Your Brain, Fishbone Quill, Flavor Flav, 4 Prince Eric, and 4 Tinkerbell Giant Fairy to round that off. Then we're playing 3 of the following: Grab Your Swords, Hades, Smash, Mickey Mouse Detective. And then last, we're playing 2 of the following: Let It Go and Gaston. That's really cool to see. I love that there's not any one-ofs in this deck. It looks very consistent. I want to go as far as to say that there's even more consistency in this build than some of the other builds we've been seeing lately. Develop Your Brain at 4 and 2 Gaston, really going to help you dig through your deck to see the cards you need to see, like Whole New World. And in the post-match interview, they were having discussions about the card choices they were playing, and Skylar did mention that in general, he felt like Gaston and Develop Your Brain were there to kind of get the combos you needed. He said this deck is somewhat of a combo deck because you're looking for the pieces just to be able to finish the game off, like with Whole New World, the smashes you need, or the Grab Your Swords you need to combo off, right? An amazing deck piloted by a clearly veteran player. He was talking about how he hadn't played in real life Lorcana in such a long time that he doesn't really have any cards, but he picked up Pixelborn again 2 weeks ago, and this was the deck that he wanted to play because he didn't want to play Ruby Amethyst mirror matches. So that was pretty cool to see, because I feel the same way about mirror matches, but I know a lot of us are excited to see not Ruby Amethyst in first place, right? And so it was an interesting match. It was a 2 Mcwho, and you can kind of check how it went down through all the content creators who have it uploaded. Specifically, go to Taya Beastie channel though, so you can check out that match. But it was a 2-0. It looks like the Ruby Amethyst player, Lorcana Twin 2, did not necessarily have the right cards, or not even just good cards in general, against all the sheer power that Sapphire Steel was throwing on the board. He was doing everything. He was playing Bells. He was inking the Beast because he didn't need the Beast. He was playing Gastons, the Tinkerbell Gravisters, everything in that Sapphire Steel was doing was utilized in that last final match, and we really got to see the impact of Whole New World in this deck, because once they're past 7 ink and they Whole New World, they start getting to 10, 12 ink on you by turn 7, and it's just crazy. And if you're a Ruby Amethyst player, ooh, you're gonna get got. But this deck, extremely powerful. I do want to mention the 4 Corella Devils there to combat the Surfer Minis, so you don't have issues with those. Playing Smash as well is going to help you combat stuff like Arthur, Mini. I felt like Arthur was really good at one point, but now that everybody's playing Sapphire Steel, I don't really like playing Arthur as much anymore, because this deck just, just smashes on Arthur, for lack of a better term. And, you also got to utilize cards like Gaston and develop your brain to make sure you see those cards when you need to see them, as well as Sad Boy Beast on turn 5. But if you are a Sapphire Steel player, let me know down in the comments how you feel about seeing this deck in first place. It's refreshing to see that not Ruby Amethyst is obviously in first place, but we do know that Ruby Amethyst is still one of the best decks of the format. It just goes to show that you can use other decks in this format and play an awesome tournament and see some awesome results. So congrats to you, Skylar, for this first place. They're also getting an invitation to the quote-unquote invitational that seems very secretive. Taya Beastie has not really said what their invitational tournament is going to be like, what it is, but everybody who's been getting first place at all these events is getting an invite to this invitational event. So if you guys are a competitive Lorcana player and you really want to get in on this, I suggest you follow them on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, etc. And then follow us as well on Discord. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to the channel so that we can keep you guys updated as well, because I know they're going to be hosting another one very soon. $15 entry, so you can walk away with $600. That is a good day's work in my opinion. So congrats again to Skylar on this first place. Now let's get on into this second place list. We do have Ruby Amethyst. By the way, we are going to go through all of top 16, maybe not super in detail for these Ruby Amethyst decks, but we are going to go to the top 16. So second place, Lorcana Twin number 2. By the way, they have a YouTube channel, the Twins. If you guys want to check out their YouTube channel, go subscribe to them. I'll put the link in the description below. They are, I like their content. They're just good players, and when good players make content, I gotta pay attention to it. I gotta listen to what they're saying, and they know what they're talking about. So go follow their YouTube. The Ruby Amethyst list right here by Lorcana Twin number 2, called Definitely Not Meta. It's playing 4 of the following: Olaf, Ursula, Minnie Mouse, Merlin Rabbit, Merlin Goat, Merlin Snake, Madam Mim Fox. We also have Friends on the Other Side, and Be Prepared at 4. Now we're playing 3 of the following: Minnie Mouse, the 1-drop Minnie Mouse. So we have 3 Maui, 3 Maleficent Sorcerer, and 3 Cusco. And then we're playing 2 of the following: Yzma, Teeth and Ambitions. We have 2 Fidget in here, and 2 Lady Tremaine. And then we're playing 1 of the following: Peter Pan Shadow, Elsa, and Merlin Crab. Okay, so the reason I'm giggling so much is because this deck was really hard to read out loud right now, because there's so many. Oh, and Pinocchio, Talkative Puppet. This deck is playing a lot of 1-ofs, and it's just making me giggle because, normally I'm not a fan of 1-ofs in Lorcana, and I was watching him stream earlier, and I would see him play some of these cards down, like Peter Pan Shadow or Elsa, and I was thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, those are good cards, right? Like, how many do you play of each? He's probably playing like 3 or 2 of each, right? And now I'm looking at the list, and I'm like, bro's playing 1 Elsa, 1 Pinocchio, and that final match, he had like a dead Pinocchio, and it looked so like, but at the same time, maybe you just only play 1 so that you don't see it most of the time. But maybe I'm wrong about 1-ofs in Lorcana. This deck draws a bunch of cards, obviously, so this could be an exception. I did say that in the last video, but let me know what you guys think of this list playing a lot of 1-ofs in the deck. It looks like you're trying to play everything. He's playing, they're playing every good Ruby Amethyst card, at least 1 copy, right? The Pinocchio, the Peter Pan Shadow, the Pinocchio is going to help you out stuff like the opposing Arthur, the Sad Boy Beast, or any against aggro decks. You can use this Pinocchio to exert exert their characters that they weren't trying to quest with yet. Peter Pan Shadow is going to help against evasive decks because evasive decks are very popular right now, like the Mufasa Emerald deck, as well as the Mirror Match, because they play Minnie Mouse Surfers. And in this scenario, Peter Pan Shadow is going to give evasive to your Madam M Fox, and that lets you clear their evasive characters. You're also playing 2 Fidget for that reason as well. And then we have 1 Merlin Crab, because, you know, we need the crabs in there. The crabs are going to help you boost your 1/3s to make them tradable, but only 1 because sometimes you just need 1, I guess. And then we have 1 Elsa. It's an extra bomb. It's like playing a 5th Ursula, I think, in my opinion, because you're not playing cards like Maleficent Monstrous Dragon. So I can see the 1 Elsa there. You are playing 4 Ursula to maximize on the ability to play something on turn 7 other than to be prepared. And you can sing with the Ursulas and the Elsas, which are very, very important. I was watching the semifinals, and this Elsa that he had just did so much during the semifinals. It was wild. So, you know, I do give credit where credit is due there on the Ruby Amethyst list by Lorcana Twin number 2. Congrats on your 2nd place. You walked away with some cash money. Can't complain there. You know what I mean? You cannot complain there. Now we have the next list here by Aaron. Lorcana, bro, shout out you. You got 3rd place with this deck titled Top Secret Deck. We're playing for the following. Be prepared. Friends on the other side. Mim Fox, Mim Snake, Maui, Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit, Minnie Mouse Surfer, Minnie Mouse the 1-drop, Olaf, Teeth and Ambitions, and Ursula. So 4 Ursula as well. Check that out. Ursula seeing an amazing impact in the meta, looking like you have to play 4 of this uninkable 7-drop this meta right now, right? We're still seeing 2 Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, which is cool to see in the top 4. We didn't see in the last list, and now we're starting to see Cusco's become a meta. We're starting to see Merlin Crab a little bit cut down to like 2 or 1, and then we're starting to see people cut down stuff like Dragon to make room for cards like Ursula. I like the Peter Pan Shadow, you know, does what it needs to do in these matchups. Pretty standard deck list. Love to see it. Congrats on your 3rd place with Ruby Amethyst. 4th place, Ruby Amethyst, looking very, very similar to this last list we just saw by Yuan Steedman. It's going to be a Ruby Amethyst control list, top 4. This is playing 4 of the following. Be prepared. Friends on the other side. Mim Fox, Mim Snake, Maui, Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit, 1-drop Minnie, Minnie Surfer, 1-drop Olaf, then 3 of the following. Ursula, Teeth and Ambitions, Cusco, Lady Tremaine, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, Maleficent Sorceress, and Teeth and Ambitions. And we're playing 2 of the following. Peter Pan's Shadow. That is going to be all for this deck. Nothing too spicy. Seems pretty standard in my opinion. Playing the 3 Monstrous Dragon. Keeping that price high on the Market Watch videos that we do every Monday and Friday. Remember to check those out, my goons. Next, we're going to go on to the top 8. And we have another Ruby Amethyst. As you can see, Ruby Amethyst being very, very popular in this Pixelborn tournament, where you can use any card you want through Pixelborn. You don't have to pay for the cards on Pixelborn, if you guys didn't know that. So if you guys don't have Pixelborn downloaded, be sure to try that out. And shout out to inkdecks.com for these deck lists, by the way. They have the deck lists up, and the tournament's only been done for about 2 to 3 hours, so that's pretty awesome to see. So big shout out to inkdecks.com. They are really good at getting information onto their website. So if you guys just want to see the information really quick without watching this video, you can go on inkdecks.com, and they have this tournament, a bunch of tournaments that happened this weekend. They have the results, or they have as many results as they can possibly get. Sometimes some of the tournaments only have like the 2nd and 1st place, you know, but even then it's just good information to have. So if for whatever reason you don't want to hear my voice and you just want to see the info, inkdecks.com is right there for you. But if you do like hearing my voice, you know, hit that like button and subscribe, my goons. We have this list looking pretty basic outside from the one of like Lady Tremaine and Merlin Crab. I like seeing Lady Tremaine kind of cut down a little bit in this format. I'm starting to notice that too. We saw Lorcana 2 and 2 playing only 2 of them, and now we see this list only playing 1. A lot of good players play around Lady Tremaine. They just know when it's coming down. They'll play an extra 1-dropper, an extra floater for whatever reason, so that when you Lady Tremaine, you have to pick. They get to pick the weaker character. But in general, with Lorcana right now, there's a lot of scenarios where you just can't play around Lady Tremaine. So I do want to play more than 1 in general. So you know, that's just my opinion. But I do want to give a huge shout out to Bannable Harka, because this dude has been grinding Pixelborn since I started the YouTube channel, bro. He has a YouTube channel. I'm sure you guys have seen it. I've been watching it since I've been making YouTube videos. I'm glad to see you in this top 8 cut, because I know how much you grind Pixelborn. He plays a lot of different decks too on his channel. He plays fun decks, he plays serious decks, and he dissects them real quick before getting into the matchups. And good to see players who are giving it their all on the content creator space and even just on the online clients. You know, they're really grinding. It's really good to see these players make it into top cut. So congrats to you, Derek Bannable Harkatoso, on this top 8 list. You know what I mean? So, you know, and keep doing your channel, man. I love watching the videos. That's always really cool to see. Shout out you, man. Congrats. Now we have the top 8 purple steel control list by Bobby McDonald, another content creator. Bobby Mcwho, if I'm not mistaken, does content on Twitch, so be sure to follow them out as well. This is the first non-Ruby Amethyst that we've seen in a little bit, right? So top 8 is this list is playing 4 of the following Sad Beast: Blue Fairy, Grab Your Swords, Madam Mim Fox, Mim Snake, Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit, Olaf, Tinkerbell Giant Fairy, and then we have 3 of the following friends on the other side: Elsa, Spirit of Winter, Let the Storm Rage On, Merlin Crab, Maleficent Sorceress, and we have 3 Yzma to round that off. Then we have 2 of the following: Ursula, Tinkerbell, Tiny Tactician, Strength of a Raging Fire, and that's going to be all for this deck. So Amethyst Steel control is a very strong deck this format as well. As you can see, the only 1-drops you're playing are the Olaf, because really what you want to do with this deck is start capitalizing on turn 2 with Blue Fairy, or some pressure post that with your Sorcerers, Merlin Rabbits, and being able to use the Steel cards to combo that off against the Ruby Amethyst matchup means that you can have a lot of tempo against them and set up a Sad Beast where they can't really respond to it. And as the game progresses, you start playing cards like Elsa, Ursula. You know, you're already gaining lore because of the rabbits and the fox and the snakes naturally. And later on in the game against Ruby Amethyst, after they've used like 2 Be Prepareds on you, you play a couple Ursulas and a couple Elsas on them, and they just can't do anything. And Blue Fairy adds a lot to that pressure because it kind of acts like as a statue on the board. It just doesn't floodgate almost. It doesn't do anything. It stays there. Unless you're playing a steel deck, it's kind of hard to out. You know what I mean? You actually have to have like a card like Tinkerbell or a targetable card like the Storm Rage On. But if you're playing a Mufasa deck, this is not really ever going to leave the field because they're never going to quest with it. So you never get a chance to challenge it. So Blue Fairy adding a lot of pressure in a deck like this for sure. The Blue Fairy gets to trigger when you play your Elsas, your Sad Beast, your Giant Tinkerbells, your Yzma even. So there are a decent amount of targets for the Blue Fairy, and usually you can start doing it post turn 5 or even on turn 4 if you are able to shift your Tinkerbell. So, you know, shout out Bobby Mcwho on this top 8 with Amethyst Steel. Good to see a deck that isn't Ruby Amethyst also playing in this tournament and seeing some awesome results. You know what I mean? A lot of us are tired of seeing Ruby Amethyst, and it's always cool to see good players and take different decks and see some good results with it. If you guys are an Amethyst Steel player, let me know down below what you think of this deck list. If there's any cards you're playing that maybe Bobby's not playing, or vice versa. I know a lot of people were playing Jafar for a while. There's a couple cards in here that I wasn't expecting personally, like the Blue Fairy or the 3 Elsas. I think Elsa's making like a very big impact on the meta right now. You know, it seems like post turn 7s and 8s, if you can drop like cards like Elsa or Ursula on like a really good tempo swing against Ruby Amethyst, which is like, you know, the best deck, it's so impactful, you know. And if they're playing like an Arthur build, like I feel like your deck just outpaces them. You know what I mean? It's just so much pressure, especially with that Blue Fairy, man. Drawing extra cards with this deck just seems unfair. So pretty cool list. I want to try it myself on ladder actually. Now we have a top 8 Ruby Amethyst list playing Arthur, piloted by Matteo Rossi. This list playing 4 of the following: Merlin Goat, Merlin Rabbit. We have 4 Pascal, 4 Olaf, 4 Mini Surfer, 4 Be Prepared, Friends on the other side, Mim Snake, and Mim Fox for the 4s. And we have 3 of the following: Arthur, LeFou, Maui, Crab, and Teeth and Ambitions. And we have 2 of the following: the Sorcerer's Spellbook, Minnie Mouse, and that's going to be all for the 2s. By the way, we have 3 Yzma in this deck. Oh, and 2 Maleficent Sorcerers. So Ruby Amethyst, another one in top 8. This one seems a little bit more aggressive in my opinion because it is playing Pascals. You're playing the Arthurs and LeFou combos, and as you can see, the highest cost card in this deck is going to be the Be Prepared. After turn 7, you kind of don't have to ink. I mean, you probably should still ink after turn 7, but that is the highest card, the highest cost card you have in this deck. And we are playing Spellbook and Arthur in this list, both of them. So I consider that to be rather aggressive. I like this list. I'm playing a similar list on Pixelborn as well. I just think that the Arthurs right now are super fragile against all the Sapphire Steel decks. So I'm kind of like pushing away from Arthur myself, but not to say Arthur's bad by any means necessary, because seeing Arthur in the top 8 cut was expected, in my opinion, especially in a meta like this, because Arthur and Goat, sometimes you start gaining 5 lore, and then gaining 5 lore 4 times, that's lethal already. So if you can set up an Arthur Goat combo against some of these slower decks like Popsicle or like the Sapphire Steel, when they don't open up the cards I need to see, you can end the game really quickly, especially in a deck like this where you're not really going to be focused on playing later game cards like Ursula or Elsa. It's looking like you're just trying to end the game as fast as possible. We're playing actually 4 Pascal, 4 Olaf, and 2 Mini, so a total of 10 1-cost characters, and if that's not aggressive, I don't know what is, right? Another Ruby Amethyst in top 8 by Federico De Stefano. Over here we have a deck list consisting of 4 Be Prepared friends on the other side: Mim Fox, Mim Snake, Maleficent Dragon, Maui, the Goat, 1-drop Mini, Surfer Mini, and that's going to be all for 4 ofs. Then we have 3 of the following: Lady Tremaine, Merlin Rabbit, Teeth and Ambitions, and Olaf. Maleficent Sorceress as well. We have 2 of the following: Yzma, Elsa, Cusco, and then we have 1 of the following to finish it off: Ursula, Power Hungry. Oh, and then we have 2 Spellbook as well. So Spellbook seeing some meta play recently. Only 1 Ursula and 2 Elsas, so I feel like the big drops are going to be your Maleficent Dragons in this type of build, but we are playing Yzma and Lady Tremaine, which is cool to see. So this is definitely a deck that plays into the later game, in my opinion, a lot more, especially if you're playing cards like Spellbook. So that's a pretty cool top 8 Ruby Amethyst deck list to see. Even though it is Ruby Amethyst, a lot of these lists are very, very different. So shout out to you, Federico, for this top 8 list. Now let's get on to top 16. We have a little bit more variety here for you, my goons over here. We have Diego Saz, top 16 with the discard Emerald Steel deck. Shout out you for this top 16. We're playing 4 of the following Sad Beast: Bucky, 1-drop Flynn Rider, Jafar, Hypnotize, Prince John, Smash, Sudden Chill, Giant Tinkerbell, and Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician. And 3 of the following we have: Grab Your Swords, Jafar the 2-drop, Lucifer, that's cool, Strength of a Raging Fire, and then we have 2 of the following in this deck: Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, the Floodborn Flynn Rider, Genie on the Job, and 2 Simba Future King. So we can make sure we can draw the cards we need to see with Simba Future King is what it's looking like. It's kind of cool to see in this deck actually, because on turn 1, let's say you don't have Bucky or Prince John, but you do have Simba Future King. There is a possibility where you play Simba on turn 1 and you draw a card and it ends up being the Bucky you need or the Prince John you need to get that nice curve going. So I like Simba Future King in a deck like this. This card, what a menacing deck to play this format, and we're seeing Genie on the Job see a lot more play this meta. I think we've realized that tempo is the name of the game, and if you can play this on turn 6 when they play a beast on turn 5, ooh, it just feels so good, you know what I mean? And even against other decks like Ruby Amethyst, which normally has really bad Genie targets, sometimes that Genie on the right card just ends the game. If they hit you with an Elsa and then you bounce back the Elsa with the Genie, if you have enough characters, and they can't really keep using the Elsa to hit all of your characters, you know what I mean? And at some point, the fact that he's an evasive body that quests for 2 is just super punishing against a lot of decks. Genie's also going to out cards like Minnie Mouse Surfer, which are problematic. All the evasive characters you see, you can bounce back Mufasa's with a Genie. It's just so much that Genie's been doing lately, and I think it's pretty cool to see in this top 16 deck list. I also really like Lucifer Bibbidi Bobbidi combo. I think it's kind of greedy to play that combo, but oh my goodness, it's so good. I feel like this deck you have to play greedy, right? So I like seeing that a lot. If you don't know the combo, you play Lucifer on turn 5 and they have to discard an action card. Most of the time, you want them to discard Be Prepared, right? And if you feel like they discarded an action card that wasn't Be Prepared, you feel like they still might have it, you have Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to combo that off. Normally, you have a Prince John there so that you can capitalize and draw cards off of this play. So if you feel confident enough to sing your Prince John with Bibbidi Bobbidi, you can bounce back your Lucifer, play it again, and boom, they have to discard another action. And you can really tell if they have Be Prepared by this point on, because they either discard 1, they discard 2 Be Prepareds, and if they don't have the action, they discard 2 cards. So it's very powerful, and it's so greedy, but so worth it. Comboing that off, and then next turn following up with like a beast or something, it's just GG. see. Bucky Prince John deck causing a terror in the meta this weekend, getting top 16 in this 160 player tournament. Congrats to you, Diego, for this awesome deck list. Now we have another top 16 Ruby Amethyst by Derek Fitzgerald. Congrats to you. We are playing for the following. Be prepared. Friends on the other side: Mim Fox, Mim Snake, Maui, Merlin, Goat, Merlin, Rabbit, 1-drop mini, 3-drop mini Surfer, Olaf, and that's going to be all for 4Os. We have 3 Ursula, Teeth and Ambition, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon, and 3 Cusco, and 3 Maleficent Sorceress. Then we have 2 of the following: Lady Tremaine, Peter Pan Shadow, and that's going to be all, with 1 Elsa Spirit of Winter. A bunch of Ruby Amethyst in this top 8, my goons. But as you can see, Cusco making an appearance again, Peter Pan Shadow, Elsa. So maybe these are some cards you might want to pick up, you know what I mean, and add them to your plethora of a collection or your decks if you're not playing these yet. Now we have a Amber Steel deck. I believe this is the first Amber Steel we've seen in this whole video so far. This was piloted by the Rat, who is a Hearthstone player as well, a Hearthstone pro. Pretty cool to see. And last time he got first place in Swiss in this tournament, and so here he is again in top 16. Last time they were playing Ruby Amethyst, and now they're not playing Ruby Amethyst. They are playing the Rat deck, piloted by the Rat, which is a deck that consists of 4 of the following: Tiana, Prince Never Gives Up, Strength of a Raging Fire, a Rockstar Stitch, Simba Protective Cub, Rapunzel, Lilo, Let the Storm Rage On, Hercules, Doc, Cinderella, and then we have 3 of the following: Benja. We're also playing 3 Sleepy, check that out. And then we have 2 of the following: Cinderella, Stout Hearted, and only 1 Sad Boy Beast and 1 Simba Future King. Oh, 2 Moana as well. That's interesting to see. So if you see this video, please explain the 1 Future King Simba and the 1 Sad Boy Beast. I wonder why you don't want to play. Well, I mean, I know why you don't want to play more of these, obviously, because you want to set off your Tiana combo. Duh. What's the point of having Tiana if you're going to play Beast afterward? You want to empty the cards in your hand. So I can see that. 1 Simba Future King might not be my favorite, but when you're playing Rockstar Stitch, you just need some extra 1 and 2 drops. So that's pretty cool to see as well. The Tiana Amber Steel deck is a menace to the Lorcana metagame right now. If you guys aren't familiar with this deck, it is a cool tempo deck that is pretty aggressive. You basically want to play something like Lilo turn 1, Simba turn 2, Prince Never Gives Up on turn 3, and then Tiana turn 4. You want to get rid of all the cards in your hand so that when you play Tiana on turn 4, after that they can no longer use cards like Be Prepared, Let It Go, their own Grab Your Swords, etc., etc. And Tiana has resist +2. It is so oppressive. It is so powerful. It is a very strong card. This deck is really awesome. My only issue with this deck is that it tends to not be as powerful when your opponent knows what they're playing against and when they know your deck list. I believe the last time they had this tournament, the deck lists were shared before top 8, and the person that was playing this type of deck specifically mentioned that, oh, I lost because my opponent knows I'm not playing X, Y, and Z. And usually it's because they know you're not playing cards like Whole New World, and they can kind of mulligan for their right cards. They can hard mulligan for the cards they need against your Tiana, and they know that you're not going to Whole New World them, so they can just keep it, like cards like Maui and stuff like that. So I do think, like in the top 60, when people know you're playing, that they're in the top cut level, people know, he's playing Amber Steel, but he's specifically playing the Tiana deck. You kind of have an advantage against that. But that might have been irrelevant, and it could have just been something entirely different. But congrats to you, the Rat, again, for getting top cut in the Tea Beastie tournaments. This dude is definitely grinding it out with Lorcana. He definitely is making a name in the space. So give him a follow on Twitter. I know they're on Twitter as well. Now we have a Ruby Amethyst again. This list piloted by Florian Burton. This is going to play for the following: a 1-drop Minnie Mouse, Olaf, the Goat, Maui, Snake, Fox, Lady Tremaine, Friends on the Other Side, and Be Prepared. Then we have 3 of the following: Cusco, Maleficent Dragon, Maleficent Sorceress, Ursula, Teeth and Ambitions, Surfer Mini, and Merlin Rabbit at 3. Interesting. Then we have 2 of the following: Merlin Crab, and that's going to be all for the 2 ofs in the deck, and 1 Elsa Spirit of Winter. A lot of people only playing the 1 Elsa. Did I not get the memo? It's just 1 Elsa the move or something? That's kind of interesting. So, Maleficent Monsters Dragon at 3, 1 Elsa. That's looking like where that got supplemented there, right? Pretty awesome, Breck. Pretty standard, you know what I'm saying? I think the only thing that I would probably want to do would be add a 4th Rabbit. I think Rabbit's just the best card in Lorcana right now. I can never get myself to play 3 rabbit. I always have to play 4 no matter what purple deck I'm playing this format. It always has 4 rabbit. That's just my opinion. Now we have another top 16 Ruby Amethyst by Mcwho. This deck is playing some spice, very little spice, but it is some spice. We have 4 of the following: Be Prepared, Friends on the Other Side, Cusco, Goat, Snake, Fox, Rabbit, Minnie Mouse 1-drop, Surfer Mini, and then we have 3 of the following: Olaf, Sorcerer's Spellbook, Teeth and Ambitions, Maui, Maleficent Sorceress, Lady Tremaine. Then we have 2 of the following: Elsa, Spirit of Winter, the Evasive Goofy. That's pretty cool to see. We have Crab, Ursula, and then a 1-drop Yzma to finish that deck off. So this deck is playing some cool stuff like the Goofy Evasive, I guess, to out a lot of the other evasive problematic characters. The fact that it's a 3/4 is pretty cool because this can clear a card like Ray or any other like evasive 3 willpower character like Minnie Mouse Surfer or Tinkerbell Most Helpful. So I can see the Goofy seeing warranted some play here. Interesting that they were playing 2 Elsa, 2 Ursula, and only 1 Yzma. So the 1 Yzma in there, I wonder if that came in clutch. Very interesting. And 3 Spellbook to kind of finish the game off in the late game. Another Ruby Amethyst for you here in top 16, as very well predicted. It's playing for the following: Be Prep, Friends, Tremaine, Fox, Snake, Dragon, Sorceress, Maui, Goat, Minnie Mouse Surfer, 1-drop Minnie Mouse, and 1-drop Olaf. Then 3 of the following: Rabbit, Ursula, Teeth and Ambitions, and Peter Pan's Shadow. I'm getting really good at naming these deck lists for Ruby Amethyst because they're just so repetitive. This one's extremely standard though, by the way, just playing a bunch of 4-ofs and 3-ofs, and that Peter Pan Shadow being kind of the only thing that stands out, but extremely powerful card. So I definitely see why you want to play Peter Pan Shadow. So shout out Matt Burns over here for getting top 16 with this Ruby Amethyst. You Ruby Amethyst Goons really just out here taking this to tournaments and doing really good with it. Congratulations, my guys. Congratulations. We have a top 16 Amethyst Steel list here, both in top 16. This is going to consist of 4 of the following. We have Sad Boy Beast, Cinderella Ballroom. We have Grand Duke, Hercules, Bodyguard, Let the Storm Rage On, Rapunzel, Simba, Strength of a Raging Fire, The Prince Never Gives Up, The Queen, Commanding Presence, and the Queen Goons, Tiana. That's going to be the 4-drop Tiana. And then we have 3 of the following: Cindy, Stout-Hearted, Hercules, Shiftable Hercules. Then we have 2 of the following: Benja and the 1-drop Tiana. This is a pretty cool deck. It's kind of like a hybrid variant mix of the Amber Steel Tiana deck that we're normally seeing. You know what I mean? But this is also playing the 4 Beasts still, and then we're playing like Cinderella Stout-Hearted and Rapunzel's. We're not playing Whole New World though, which is cool to see because we're not. I like this list. This is very different. Okay, so this is spicy in my opinion. Shout out Devoted. Shout out Devoted. I wish this deck would have gone a little further because it looks very interesting. You know, I feel like turn 1s and turn 1 through 2, you know, you're probably trying to set up a good place for your Rapunzel maybe, or for your Tiana. Tiana seems like a very solid card to set up if you don't draw Sad Boy Beast, or even if you are playing the Sad Beast on turn 5, then you're probably able to expel your hand with your songs and still have the Tiana live. You know what I mean? So that's pretty cool to see. A lot of aggression as well with the Queen and the Prince Never Gives Up. You're probably able to set these up turns 1, 2, and 3 very conveniently with your Queen and your Prince Never Gives Up, and that adds a lot of lore. Being able to protect your Queen is pretty crazy if you have Prince Never Gives Up after you shift her. And then also I want to go ahead and mention that Hercules, the Divine Hero, is an amazing card in this format. They're not playing the 2-drop Hercules either. You're just playing the Bodyguard Hercules so that you can ensure that you can keep questing maybe with your Cindy's or your Queen, like I said, because you're questing for 2 every time. You're also playing your Grand Duke on turn 2, which is pretty cool, because if you're playing something like your Queen, your Tiana, or your Cinderella on turn 1, playing Grand Duke on turn 2 means that they're going to gain that 1 strength and they become way more threatening. So your 1-drop Tiana can start clearing cards that have 2 willpower. Your Queen can start clearing cards like Snake, Fox, and all the other 3 willpower characters, which is really powerful. And then your Cinderella Ballroom Sensation can, you know, also add some power if you really need it to. But even post turn 2, once you start playing it with turn 3, turn 4, your Rapunzels, your Tianas, all of those characters become pretty powerful, which is kind of cool to see. Even Hercules and Prince Never Give Up gain a boost. Actually, even Sad Boy Beast gains a boost. So the Grand Duke pretty much having synergy with almost every character in this entire deck. So that's kind of nice to see, in my opinion. Wow, yeah, Grand Duke. So a pretty cool deck, my goon. I'm pretty excited to try this one out myself on ladder. So shout out to Devoted for getting top 16 with this spicy Amber Steel list. Love to see it. Very, very unique. Not playing many songs and actions, by the way, as well. Maybe you could play Mufasa in this deck too, right? Because you're only playing strength and let the storm rage on. But maybe there's some bad Mufasa targets. I don't know. I like this deck though. This deck looks really cool. And last but not least, we have another Ruby Amethyst list. Shout out you, Francis Cormier. I've said this name before, so I know this person has gotten top cut in another event. So shout out you again for getting top cut. You know, it's looking like a lot of these players who are getting back-to-back top cuts know what they're doing in Lorcana. So hey man, a lot of people like to say that these decks are autopilot, that these decks take no skill and all this other nonsense, but I'm seeing names come back to back in this top cut. You know what I mean? So it's looking like skill is involved indeed, my goons. So top 16 Ruby Amethyst, last one we're going over today. It's going to be playing for the following: Beat Prep, Friends on the Other Side, Mimp Snake, Mimp Fox, Merlin Goat, Rabbit, One Drop Mini, Surfer Mini, Olaf, and then we have 3 of the following: Ursula, Maleficent Sorceress, Dragon, Cusco, Lady Tremaine, and that's going to be all for 3 of us. Then we have 1 of the following though: Elsa, Spirit of Winter, and Yzma, Scary Beyond Reason. Shout out Francis for getting top 16 with Ruby Amethyst. This deck being one of the strongest in the format. We know what it does. We know what all these cards in this deck do. Dragonfire was seeing a lot of meta play at one point because Dragonfire is an out to the Tiana deck, and in general, if you can respond with Dragonfire to their turn 5 beast, it's pretty satisfying. But a lot of decks in the top cut were not playing Dragonfire is what it's looking like. So who knows? Do you play Dragonfire this format? Doesn't seem like it's necessary. However, we definitely saw a lot of people playing the one Elsa, the multiple copies of Ursula in this deck, so maybe you want to consider playing those instead. But thanks for sticking around for the top 16 of the Taya Beastie Merlin Strikes brought to you by The Pack. Remember guys, follow them on Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, etc. I know they have a Discord as well. I'll put that in the link in the description, and follow us as well. Subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, join our Discord if you want some more Lorcana activity. And if you yourself are a Lorcana goon, join the Lorcana Goon squad. We have all the goons in here chopping it up, talking about deck theory in our Discord and whatnot, and going over these deck lists as well. So if you guys want to play some online tournaments, or if you want some more information on tournaments, be sure to follow all these people so you can enter the next tournament, so you can win some of these cool prizes like this Merlin Rabbit promo card I have right here, or some cash money like we saw some of these first place, second place, top 8 players winning today. But until then, remember to stay tuned to Lorcana Goons, and we will see you goons next time.